At family dinner, Mom told me to sell my apartment for my sister's debt. When I refused, she called me unbelievably selfish. The next morning, I woke up to 57 missed calls. My name is Logan. I'm 29, work in tech, and own my own apartment. Nothing fancy, just a one-bedroom place I worked my butt off to afford. I like my life the way it is, quiet, stable, mine. Which is probably why my parents and my sister, Emily, think I should give it up. The message from my mom came in while I was at work. Mom, your sister is in serious trouble. You need to step up. Sell your apartment. I stared at my screen, rereading it. Then, I replied with a single word. No. 10 seconds later, my phone buzzed. Are you serious? Mom didn't even say hello. She's your sister. And she's drowning in debt. Sounds like her problem. Silence. Then, a sharp exhale. Logan, you are being unbelievably selfish right now. Ah, there it was. The magic word. Selfish. The word they used every time they wanted something from me. When have you ever helped me? Another pause. Dinner. Tonight. I should have said no. But I knew if I didn't go, they'd harass me for weeks. Flashback. 5 years ago. It was my first real job, barely paying enough to cover rent. Emily had just moved back home after quitting her marketing job to find herself. Mom called me one night, her voice thick with concern. Mom, sweetheart, Emily's struggling. She doesn't even have money for gas. Could you send her something? Just to help her get back on her feet? I had $300 in my bank account. Rent was due in 4 days. I sent her $200. The next day, she posted an Instagram story, fresh manicure, caramel macchiato, and a caption, self-care day. When I asked her about it, she laughed. It's just money, Logan. Relax. That was the first time I realized Emily and I lived in two different realities. Present day. I arrived at my parents' house. Emily was already seated, playing the role of the fragile victim, teacup in hand, eyes red, looking as if she'd just returned from battle. Dad cleared his throat, setting his fork down slowly. We need to talk about your apartment. I leaned back. Do we? Mom folded her arms. Emily is in a very difficult place. Difficult? Huh? Because she spent money she didn't have? Emily scoffed. I had no choice. I needed to maintain a certain lifestyle for work. You don't have a job. She flinched. That's not the point. Mom shot me a warning look. Logan, she needs your help. And I need to not be treated like a human ATM. Dad exhaled through his nose. It's just an apartment. You can buy another one. I stared at him. You want me to sell my home so Emily can wipe her debt clean? It's not just about that, Mom said, voice tight. It's about family. We help each other. No, I help. She takes. Emily shot up from her chair, nearly knocking it over. I hate you. And yet, I'm the one with an apartment. Mom grabbed her head like she was about to faint. What did we do wrong with you? I stood up, grabbed my coat. You raised the only sane person in this family. And I walked out. The messages started before I even got to my car. Mom, you've disappointed us. Dad, family is more important than money. Emily, you're a pathetic excuse for a brother. I put my phone on silent, got in my car, and drove home. Because I knew this was only the beginning. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls. 10 from Mom. 4 from Dad. 3 from Emily. I sighed, rolled over, and checked my texts. Mom, we need to talk. Dad, call your mother. Now. Emily, you're seriously doing this? After everything I've been through? Everything she's been through? I sat up and rubbed my face. I knew what was coming. Flashback. 3 years ago. Emily had just gotten back from a spiritual retreat in Bali. Translation. She blew through her savings on overpriced yoga classes and Instagrammable smoothie bowls. A week later, Mom called me. Sweetheart, your sister is in a rough spot. I already knew where this was going. How much? She hesitated. Just a few thousand to cover rent until she finds work. I was making $50,000 a year at the time, barely scraping by in my tiny apartment. Meanwhile, Emily had just spent a month finding herself in tropical paradise. No. Mom gasped. No? That's what I said. Logan, she's your sister. And I'm not her retirement plan. The next day, Emily posted a picture at a fancy restaurant with the caption, New Beginnings. I never asked where she got the money. Present day. I went to make coffee, phone still buzzing nonstop. Finally, I picked up. Logan. Mom's voice hit me at full volume. I pulled the phone away from my ear. Morning, Mom. Do not morning me. Do you understand what you did to your sister? Didn't give her free money? You humiliated her. I took a sip of coffee. How? She's devastated. She was up all night crying. And? She's your sister. Again? And? You were so cold, Logan. What happened to you? I sighed. Mom, I didn't put Emily in debt. She did that all on her own. She's struggling. So let her struggle. Maybe she'll finally learn something. Silence. Then, I hope you can live with yourself. Click. I put my phone on the counter and exhaled. 5 minutes later, a text from Dad. Dad, come over tonight. Let's talk like adults. I already knew what that meant. They weren't done trying to wear me down. Fine. Let's see what they had planned. I should have known this wasn't just going to be a talk. The second I walked into my parents' house, I felt it. The tension in the air, the way Mom was pacing, the way Dad had his arms crossed like he was about to lay down the law. And then I saw her. Emily. Sitting on the couch, wrapped in a blanket like some tragic victim. Her eyes red and puffy like she'd been crying for hours. Maybe she had. Didn't change anything at all. I almost turned around and walked out. Sit down, Dad said, his voice low and serious. No need. I already know where this is going. Then sit down and hear us out, Mom pressed, her arms folded. I sighed and sat. Not because I wanted to, but because I knew if I didn't, they'd act like I never gave them a chance to explain their side. Mom jumped in immediately. Logan, we just don't understand. Why are you being so heartless? Heartless? Because I don't want to sell my home? It's just an apartment. It's my apartment, Mom. When I worked really hard to afford. And your sister is about to lose everything. Emily sniffled dramatically, dabbing at her eyes like she was starring in some soap opera. You don't understand what it's like to be in my position, she muttered, voice shaking just enough to make her sound fragile. I leaned back. Your position? You mean broke? She shot me a glare. You've never had to worry about money like I have. I actually laughed at that. Are you joking? I've been working since I was 16. Yeah, but you like working. I blinked. What? You like working, she repeated, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. You've always been one of those career people. I'm not like that. I need to be happy. And being responsible makes you unhappy? She folded her arms. I just think people should be able to enjoy their lives. What's the point of living if you're miserable? You weren't miserable when you were maxing out your credit cards, huh? I didn't think it would get this bad. That's the problem, Emily. You never think. Oh my God, you were such a smug fool. Mom clapped her hands together like she was about to deliver a verdict. Enough. Logan, we are not leaving this room until you show some compassion. I exhaled through my nose. Let me get this straight. You want me to sell my apartment so Emily, who doesn't like working, can wipe out her debt and then, what? Start fresh? Mom nodded. Exactly. I turned to Emily. And what happens when you rack up more debt? Mom and Dad exchanged a look. Emily rolled her eyes. I wouldn't. Swear on your life, right now, that you'd never use a credit card again. Silence. That's what I thought. Dad sighed, rubbing his temples. Logan, it's not about the money. It's about family. No, it's always about money. My money. Mom's face hardened. So that's it? You're just going to turn your back on us? No, I'm just finally saying no. Emily slammed her hand on the table, her face red with anger. You're unbelievably selfish, you know that? After everything Mom and Dad have done for you? I tilted my head. What exactly have they done for me? They raised you. So just existing in this family means I owe you my entire future? She jumped up from the couch, fist clenched. I hope you choke on your stupid apartment, you condescending jerk. Mom gasped. Emily. No, let her talk, Mom. This is the real her. Emily was shaking with rage. You're dead to me. I stood up, grabbed my coat. Finally, Dad stood up, his voice low and firm. If you walk out that door, Logan, you're making a choice. I looked him dead in the eyes. No, Dad. You are. And I walked out. By the time I got to my car, my phone was blowing up. Mom, you've disappointed us. Dad, family is more important than money. Emily, you're a pathetic excuse for a brother. I put my phone on silent and drove home. They thought this was over? They had no idea what was coming. After the ambush, I expected them to back off for a while. I was wrong. The next morning, I woke up to 23 missed calls and a flood of texts. Mom, we need to talk. Now. Dad, you're making a huge mistake. Call me. Emily, I hope you stay stuck in that awful apartment of yours. I muted the group chat. I had work to do. Unlike some people. The Guilt Trip 2.0. By lunchtime, I had 3 voicemails from Mom. I made the mistake of listening to one. Logan, I just don't understand. Deep sigh. I don't know what's happened to you. You used to be such a kind boy. You used to care about your family. Now you're cold. Unrecognizable. Did we fail as parents? Is this our fault? I hung up halfway through. Classic move. Make me feel like a heartless monster. 2 hours later, Dad called. Against my better judgment, I picked up. Logan, his voice was low, serious. The disappointed but wise father tone. I need you to come by tonight. We need to talk man to man. Not happening. Don't be like this. We can work something out. There's nothing to work out. Son, you don't walk away from family. I laughed. No, but family sure as hell walks all over me. That's not fair. What's not fair is expecting me to give up my home because Emily refuses to be an adult. Silence. Then, a heavy sigh. You don't understand what it's like to be a father. And you don't understand what it's like to be the only responsible person in this family. I hung up. 5 minutes later, another text from Mom. Mom, your uncle is coming over. Maybe he can talk some sense into you. They were bringing in reinforcements now? Fine. Let's play. The intervention. That night, I showed up. Not because I was willing to negotiate, but because I wanted to end this once and for all. The second I walked into the living room, I saw the setup. Mom, Dad, Emily, and Uncle Rick, Dad's older brother, the successful businessman of the family. The guy they always compared me to. He was sipping whiskey like he was about to handle a company merger. Logan, my boy. He greeted, all fake warmth. Heard there's a bit of a disagreement? I dropped onto the couch, arms crossed. No disagreement. Just a bunch of people who think my money belongs to someone else. Emily huffed. It's not your money, it's a stupid apartment. My apartment. You can get another one. And you can get a job. Rick chuckled, swirling his drink. Come on now, Logan. No need to be so aggressive. We're just trying to find a solution. Oh, there's a solution. Emily grows up. Problem solved. Mom shot me a sharp look. Don't be cruel. Cruel? You're asking me to sell my home. We're asking you to help your sister. Rick leaned forward. Logan, I get it. You worked hard. You feel like it's unfair. But that's what family does. We help each other. You ever sell your house for a family member? He hesitated. Well, no, but ew. Then don't tell me what family does. Emily groaned dramatically. This is pointless. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. I turned to her. You chose this life, Emily. You maxed out your cards. You quit your job. You went on vacations. And now you expect me to fix it? I didn't expect you to be such a selfish fool. I laughed. I know. That's the problem. She went silent, chest rising and falling fast, like she was about to lose it. Mom put a hand on her shoulder. Sweetheart, just breathe. Logan is just upset. He doesn't mean these things. No, I mean every word. Dad finally spoke. Rick, can you give us a moment? Rick sighed, got up, and muttered, don't let pride ruin family, kid. Then it was just the 4 of us. Dad leaned forward, fingers laced together. Logan, listen to me. If you do this, if you refuse, you are making a choice. Yeah, I'm choosing myself. Mom's eyes welled up. I never thought I'd hear you say something like that. That's because you raised me to believe my needs don't matter. Emily scoffed. Oh, poor you. The golden boy of the family finally has to make a sacrifice. I turned to her, voice calm. You're right. I was the golden boy. The responsible one. The one who did everything right. And all it got me was a family that sees me as a walking bank. No one spoke. Then Emily muttered, I hope you rot in that awful apartment of yours. Mom gasped. Emily. No, let her talk, Mom. This is the real her. Emily was shaking with rage. You're dead to me. I stood up. Finally. Dad's voice was low, firm. If you walk out that door, Logan, you're making a mistake. I looked him dead in the eyes. No, Dad. You are. And I walked out. The aftermath. By the time I got to my car, my phone was blowing up. Mom, you've disappointed us. Dad, family is more important than money. Emily, I hope you never need us, because we won't be there. I stared at that last one for a long time. Then I smiled. For the first time in my life, I didn't need them. And that was the real problem, wasn't it? They needed me. And now? I was done. I thought that after I walked out, they'd finally get the message. I was wrong. 3 days later, I got an email from Mom. Subject, let's be reasonable. Message, Logan, I don't know why you're being so cruel to your family. We raised you better than this. If you don't want to sell your apartment, fine. But at least take out a loan to help your sister. You make good money. You can afford it. Be a decent person. Love, Mom. I actually laughed. Out loud. They really didn't get it. I replied with exactly one sentence. No. 2 hours later, I got a call from Dad. I didn't answer. Then from Emily. Ignored. Then Mom. I let it ring out, and a voicemail popped up. I hit play. Logan, your father and I are trying to be patient with you. But this behavior is unacceptable. You are tearing this family apart. If you don't come to your senses, we will have no choice but to cut you off. No more invitations. No more holidays. No more family. She paused for dramatic effect. Is that really what you want? I deleted the voicemail. The smear campaign. By the end of the week, I started hearing from extended family. Aunt Carol texted, your mother is in tears. Call her. Cousin Jake. Dude, WTF is going on? Your parents say you abandoned the family. Uncle Mike. Just help your sister, Logan. This is embarrassing. They were spreading the story, making it seem like I was some heartless monster who turned my back on poor, struggling Emily. I didn't respond. Then, I got a message from an unknown number. Unknown, I hope you're happy. Mom can't even sleep. Dad's ashamed of you. You're an absolute disgrace. It didn't take a genius to figure out who that was. I texted back. Me? New number? Emily? Cute. Lose it. Blocked. The real reason. I figured things would die down. But then I got a call from my old neighbor. Hey, man, just a heads up. Your parents were talking to the realtor down the street. They were asking how much your place might sell for. I froze. You're kidding. Wish I was. They made it sound like you were thinking of selling. Oh, they weren't just trying to guilt me. They were trying to force me. I ended the call and immediately checked my emails. There it was. A notification from my mortgage lender. We received an inquiry about refinancing options for your property. If you did not authorize this request, please contact us immediately. I sat there, gripping my phone, heart pounding. They actually tried to mess with my finances. This wasn't just about Emily's debt anymore. This was about control. The last conversation. I called Mom. She picked up on the first ring. Logan. Thank God. Listen, we need to... Did you try to mess with my mortgage? Silence. Then, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me, Mom. We needed to understand your options. You mean MY options? The home you don't own. The home you want me to give up. Logan, don't be so dramatic. Dramatic? You tried to screw with my finances behind my back. She sighed. Sweetheart, we were just looking into possibilities. We thought, if we could show you a better alternative. A better alternative for who? For everyone. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath. We're done. Logan. No. Listen to me, Mom. You and Dad, you're cut off. Emily is cut off. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want any more guilt trips, no more fake emergencies, no more family bullshit. You're dead to me. Silence. Then she whispered, you don't mean that. I do. Logan, please. I hung up. Then I blocked her number. And Dad's. And every flying monkey they had sent after me. 1 year later, Emily never paid off her debts. Mom and Dad ended up taking out a second mortgage trying to save her. The family whispers said they were struggling. Me? I thrived. I got a promotion. Bought a second property. Built a life with zero guilt, zero expectations, and zero family drama. And then, one day, a message popped up in my inbox. Unknown number. Hey, it's Emily. Can we talk? I stared at the screen. Then, I deleted the message. Some people never change. And I was done saving them. Reddit update. 1 year later. Answering your comments. Wow. I didn't expect my story to blow up like this. I posted it just to get it off my chest, but seeing how many people have been through the same thing, that hit different. A lot of you had thoughts, some supportive, some not so much. So, here's my final update. To everyone who said, good for you, Logan. Stay strong. Thank you. Really. You guys don't know how much it meant to read your comments when I was drowning in guilt. Because yeah, even after everything, the guilt still crept in sometimes. Years of conditioning don't disappear overnight. But let me tell you, choosing yourself, cutting off people who only take and never give, that's freedom. The peace I have now is something I didn't even realize was possible. No more waking up to passive-aggressive texts. No more family dinners where I'm treated like an ATM. No more feeling like I exist just to serve them. For the first time in my life is actually mine. To the people who said, "She's your sister, you should have helped." Helped how? By throwing away my home so she could go right back to maxing out her credit cards? By letting my parents manipulate me into another financial trap? By rewarding her for screwing up while I get punished for being responsible? Let me ask you something. If someone kept setting their house on fire over and over, would you burn your own house down to keep them warm? Because that's what you're asking me to do. I didn't cut off my family because they were struggling. I cut them off because they expected me to fix their struggles, no matter what it cost me. And when I said no, they tried to force my hand. That's not family. That's financial abuse. To the people who said, "You'll regret this when they're gone." Maybe, but I regret all the years I let them treat me like a walking wallet. I regret every sacrifice I made for people who wouldn't even consider doing the same for me. You know what I won't regret? Not losing my home. Not destroying my finances. Not letting them manipulate me ever again. If they had ever once treated me like an actual person instead of a safety net, maybe things would be different. But they didn't. And I refuse to spend my life trying to earn love from people who only see me as useful when I'm giving them something. Final thoughts. A year ago, I walked away. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. But I survived. And I'm happier than I've ever been. So if you're reading this and you're in the same boat, if your family only calls when they need something, if they guilt you into giving, if you feel like you have to help just because they're family, listen to me. You don't owe anyone your future. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep them warm. You're allowed to say no. And if that makes you the villain in their story, so be it. At least you'll finally be the hero in your own. Logan out.